okay? And we are here on the campus of a historically black college and university called Coppin State University, okay? All these entities have combined and worked tireless hours and weeks and months to make sure we have this event in this space. Now, let's just talk truth. Every seat is not free. I see that. I mean, I can see that. But here's the question. Should I focus on who's not here, or should I focus on who is here? Because see, what I'm excited about is that there are people here. And see, what we're doing today is we're planting seeds. The conference started off with the voice of your own, Lamel, Baltimore's own. That is the voice of power. That is the future. And that's what we're going to talk about. If anything, I'm glad that we have this nice, intimate group. I'm going to get a chance to know y'all over the course of the day. We're going to converse, we're going to plant seeds, and we're going to build. This is the beginning of the beginning. You understand? So I'm glad that you're here. Give yourselves a hand of applause. So, the agenda, which is in your bag, but I'll just review it to make sure we're on the same page. We have the opening, okay? And it is going to be a very powerful opening. Reading between the lines, how literacy is the key to freedom, okay? And I'll tell you more about the speaker in just 1 second, okay? After that, that's when we're going to start with the knowledge, okay? We have 4 different rooms. Everything is color-coded as according to your program. And outside the doors, you will see signs with the same color as the program. And so we have the manhood redefined over here. We have the post-traumatic school syndrome over here. We have literacy and hip-hop. And we also have the black male in Hollywood, okay? So all of these events will take place right after the opening address. Then we'll go into lunch. I don't know about y'all, but free food seems to taste better, don't it? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to lunch, and then after lunch, we'll have some more food for thought. And then finally, you all will get a chance to talk, participate, just like we are right now. You know, we're going to have this nice town hall, and we'll have my man, Vitamin C, you know, do the honors. And so after that, we'll close on out. And for those of you all who are interested, I'd like to let you know that Jerry Bohannon, through special arrangement, will walk over to the gym where you can actually have free admittance to a Coppin State University Division II basketball game. How about that? Okay, again, so you work hard, play hard. So we're gonna work hard today, right? You know, we're gonna ball, you know, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, and then we can watch the brothers ball physically later on. Does that sound like a plan? Yeah. Okay. That being said, just let me just take a brief moment to just remind you all that tomorrow is the 105th anniversary of the oldest black fraternity in this country. Now, I mean, again, I don't mean to be redundant or state the obvious, but it's also an organization of which I'm a member. And that is Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, founded in December 4th, 1906. Now, I just want to tell you something that one of the founders said, because what they did was they started off at Ivy League University, Cornell, up in New York, 1906. Now imagine, it's hard now getting into Ivy League University. And you can imagine back then they had this thing called, what was it? Jim Crow. Right? That said blacks or you Negroes could not be on a campus like this. For some reason, there was this perception that we were not worthy of education, even though the very highest of God was within us. And so they formed this fraternity in order to bond together to help one another as brothers. And this is what one of the founders, Henry Arthur Callis, said. He said, the chief significance of Alpha Phi Alpha, but we can fill in Boys to Men Summit, and its purpose is to stimulate, develop, and cement an intelligent, trained leadership in the unending fight for freedom. Unending fight for freedom. Our task is endless. That's why I say, brothers, today is the beginning of the beginning. Our task is endless. And so, I'm part of an even greater brotherhood, and that is the brotherhood of black men. Oh, dear Lord, what a beautiful brotherhood it is. A beautiful brotherhood. Now, I don't know if you all know this yet, but it is a beautiful brotherhood. Membership has its true privileges. Now listen, they try to, I guess, confuse you. You think it's a burden, you know, like, oh, I'm besieged, and, you know, because I'm black, because I'm a brother man, you know, this is what they're trying to do to me. No, no, no. No, no, it is a blessing. It is a blessing. And I'm proud to be part of this brotherhood, okay? And that's what everything's about here today. So, before we get started, I just want you all to do 3 things for me. I want you all to stand up one more time, and I want you all to find 3 brothers. Tell them 3 things. Your name, where you from, and tell them something positive. Yo, man, I like your shades, man. Yo, man, I like it. I mean, just come up with something, man. Just come up with something. Tell them something positive. Like, I like my man's flat top, bringing it back. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's right, bringing it back. I like. Can play. So, all right, let's do that, and then we'll get started. So 3 things, 3 brothers, 3 positive.
Actually, these are all singers. We have it's all grades. Yeah, we have 5 10 grades. 5 10 grades.
Break it up, 5 people, 3 people don't know.
People that don't know. People you don't know. Yeah. All right, that's it.
You got 5 people. You do 3 people. What's your name? All right, come 2 more. Come on, 1, 2, 1, 2. Break it up, move around.
Oh! Hi, bro. Where is she? You from Baltimore? Yeah.
Oh, she's from
You guys from Columbia? You guys from Columbia?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, I didn't say you had to get the social security number. All right, y'all. Let's get this party started. All righty. Now, so we got our woo on this morning. You know, we got the blood flowing, and now we got, I think, a little bit of camaraderie. I think we get to know each other a little better. So now I think we're now prepared for the message. Now listen, y'all. I am very excited because I don't know if you all know, but okay, let me ask you, what percentage would you think of our nation's teachers are white? What percentage? Elementary teachers from K through 12, what percentage?
85. 90. It's about 80 and up. One of those. What do you say?
Okay, so again, I'm not telling you guys something you don't already know. No, listen, I'm not trying to demonize white people. I love white people. I mean, I got white friends, and, you know, I mean, all my teachers were white. No, I'm serious. I mean, all my presidents were white. And, I mean, you know, no, I'm just saying, I mean, but my point is, you all know that black teachers are not that common. That's my point, right? Okay, let alone black male teachers. How many of y'all have had a black male teacher? Okay, all right. Yeah, 2, okay. You know, I went through 12 years without one. I mean, I'm just saying, 12 years without one. You know, that's just my story. So I'm glad you all got one. So that being said, it's a hard job. You know, teaching is a hard job, period. But for some reason, many of us are just not in this profession. You know, it's just something to think about. I, fortunately, have had the pleasure of meeting a couple of brothers who teach. Amongst you, I don't know if y'all know, but we have the Howard County 2011 and 2012 Teacher of the Year. Rashid, can you please just stand for a second? Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay. That's amazing. Now, in addition to that, brother, we have another teacher in the house. Now listen, I'm just going to be real brief and tell you that this brother is powerful, okay? He is powerful, okay? That's the bottom line. He is powerful. I'm going to tell you why. He is a father, okay? He is a teacher. He is an educator. He is a committed Christian. Now, unfortunately, he's a Bills fan. We're not going to hold that against the guy. Okay? We're not. You know what I'm saying? We're not. But, you know, but again, one of Maryland's own, Towson, right? Originally from Ohio, but we claim him as one of Maryland's own, right? You know, and he loves the Lakers like I do. And not only that, but he is not only Baltimore County Teacher of the Year, but the state of Maryland 2011 and 2012 Teacher of the Year, Joshua Parker.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk before you long. I want to get comfortable with you all up front. So I want to put a couple of images in front of your head, and I want to talk on a couple of points. We have people of all ages, and the range is pretty good. So I like that I have young, I like that I have middle, I like that I have older. Hopefully, I will not bore you too much with what I'm going to say. Hopefully you get something out of it, but I want to start with an image. So I'm going to put an image up on the screen. Just kind of want you to look at it for a little while, about 30 seconds or so. Thoughts? Disturbing? Okay. Scared? Any other thoughts? Have you seen this picture before?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it?
Slaves.
Slaves. How a lot of our brothers were brought over here. What do you notice about this in relation to the slave's face? Around his face, but not his eyes. Not his nose either. Around his mouth. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to start. And this serves as a predicate for what I want to say. Too many of us, being African American males, are like this symbolically. Maybe not physically, but if we're not reading and writing at an advanced level, this is in excess how we are. So my purpose for this particular setting is to get you guys to see what literacy could be. One of the main things, I teach English language arts. I'm an English language arts department chair at a middle school. I've taught high school also. One of the things I hear so often from African American males and boys in general, reading is boring. Every single time. Doesn't matter where I go, doesn't matter who I talk to, it's the same message. You know, I'm not sure if people they're getting this message somewhere. I'm not sure where they're getting it from. But this is what I'm hearing. But what I'm telling you right now is that literacy has the ability to liberate you so that you don't end up going around symbolically like this. So, let's think about a couple of things, okay? So, I'll take this image off, you know, so it's not as jarring, if you will. But by the way, that's part of our heritage. That's why I put it up there, okay? Why do you think that slaves had this sort of restriction around their speech? Why was this happening? I like this to be interactive because I can talk for a long time, but I'm more interested in what you have to say.
Because if we communicated, we could probably think of a way to get out. We talk to each other. We be thinking of escape. We talk to each other about escape.
Absolutely. Why else? Why else? Any other reason why we were muzzled in that way? That's the premier way. Guess what? Every time, back in the 1800s and 1700s, every time there was a law related to restriction of literacy for African American males, it was tied to revolution. 1740, right around South Carolina, there was something called the Stono Rebellion. Okay? That rebellion started with literate slaves who said, we don't need to be here. We're not supposed to be subjugated like this. So what did South Carolina do after the rebellion was quelled? They said, we can't have African American slaves write, can't have them read. Okay? South Carolina shut it down. So things came on, kept on going. Then another literate slave by the name of Nat Turner had a rebellion in 1831. That happened, they said, okay, we got to shut down this reading and writing. Why? Because if you read and write, you understand you're not supposed to be enslaved. So on its face, literacy is a way to be free, period, right? And you saw that already. Because every time a slave was literate, they figured out we're not supposed to be enslaved, rebellion. Every time they were literate, rebellion. Every time they were literate, rebellion, revolution. So, slave owners said, look, let's just have them not read. Now, fast forward 100, 200 years to 2011, and what do I hear from African American males? I don't read. It's not what I do. What's the difference then between you and the gentleman that you saw earlier? Think about this. A couple years ago, I'm not going to say a great producer, but a producer of movies named Michael Bay. He produced Transformers 2. All right, so everybody went there. But there was 2 robots there. If you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. 2 robots there. They were kind of funky and chill, and they had all kind of moves, kind of, you know. Right, and they said something that was interesting. They said, oh, reading, we don't do that. So once again, African American stereotype in the media, black males don't read. It's all there. But what are you going to do about it? So there was muzzles applied to African American males when they were enslaved. My muzzle was put on at an early age, but it was put on by myself. You know, when I was young, I came on through Prince George's County Public School System, moved on to Baltimore, Towson, and then College Notre Dame, got the master's and everything like that. But when I was small, I was real smart. So because I was real smart, I had a problem. How can I be smart and cool at the same time as an African American male? Now, maybe none of you all have dealt with this, but I know many of you do. All right? Because it's more advantageous for us if we're athletically gifted than to be academically gifted. Right? We can fit in better if we can play ball, or if we can run a 40 and 4.3 time, than if we can actually understand the theory of relativity. So I had a problem. My problem was, how am I going to be smart and cool? So I struggled. What did I end up getting all the time? C's, B's. Did I have the potential to get A's? Every day. Every single standard test that I took, I scored in the highest percentile in the nation. Every single one. Reading, math, didn't matter what it was. So I had the aptitude, but I was trying to fit in. That was my struggle. So what ended up happening was, because I was trying to fit in, there was a muzzle put around my mouth. I wasn't able to speak with authority because I wasn't reading like I should. I wasn't able to understand with authority and confidence because I wasn't writing like I should. This muzzle was put on by myself. So what happened? Fast forward to 10th grade, right in Friendly High School. I started understanding and reading Langston Hughes. I started reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. I started reading these texts, and what happened was I started to realize if I don't read about myself, if I don't read about stuff that I went through, I'm never going to understand myself. So that's what started for me. The muzzle started to come off. I started to speak and challenge. I started to challenge teachers, not disrespectfully, but if they're going to present an idea, I had the knowledge to at least back it up or refute it. I had confidence. I can control conversations. I had knowledge, but because I read, that's it, right? Think about Malcolm X. I'll go to there first. I got a couple points here. Let's go there first. What do you know about Malcolm X while he was in prison? Because he was in prison for about a good 8-9 years. So what do you know about him when he was in prison? What did he do? He read, didn't he? Yeah, read often. You see him with glasses, right? Well, he didn't always start off with glasses. He had 20/20 vision going into prison. And then he escaped prison, or not escaped prison, got out of prison with glasses. Why? He read so much that he used to read by the light that was out in the hallway, and it strained his eyes. He would read 10, 11, 12 hours a day. He would have 4 or 5 hours of sleep, get up and read again. Every day. He copied the entire dictionary by hand. This is liberational literacy. What did he say about that in his book? He said, I've never felt more free than when I was in prison. He said, I couldn't understand why I was struggling so much and why I couldn't understand the world. And then I started reading, and then something that was dead inside me became alive. Right? That's what he did. Guess what? His good friend and compliment, and I guess foil, if you will, Martin Luther King Jr. had a same jail time experience. Now, Martin Luther King Jr., by the way, this is not reported, But you guys need to know that he wasn't just a speaker. He was extremely intelligent. Went to college at a young age, became a doctor at a young age, was brilliant, wrote many essays, speeches, all that stuff. But when he was in Birmingham jail, he wrote a letter in jail. One of the most popular letters ever written. Articulate, deep, moving. That's where he said, a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. He wrote that on the letter to Birmingham jail. So, what am I trying to say here? If you know how to read and write well, you'll be freer than you are now. Period. Okay? Let's go to another point. Advanced literacy allows you to better understand who you are. Okay? That was my first point. Second point, advanced literacy gives you space to influence. Gives you space to influence. Okay? Think about this. So I went through middle school, high school, I read a little bit, then I went to Towson University. Now, when I got to Towson University, I was only 17 because I had skipped a grade when I was younger. So I was pretty young going into college or whatever. And how can I put this delicately? There were a lot of women in college.
Yes, sir.
I was like, oh my Lord, this is fantastic. I have reached the promised land. Was this the one that King was talking about? Maybe, I don't know, but I'm there, right? But girls equals distractions. Girls equals distractions until you have understood responsibility and can make them your wife. Girls equal distraction until you develop responsibility and can make one your wife, period. Okay? So girls will always be there. They will always be around. But your education and your ability to be responsible is not something that you can lose. Okay, so I'm there, I'm getting distracted, whatever, but I start reading more. I start understanding more how my speech and the way that I can present myself can influence people. I became Black Student Union President there, second year. Then I started speaking on behalf of the entire Black Student Union to administration, talking about problems we were having. And I said, you know what? If I can read and speak well at an advanced level, I can change people's perceptions of me and the whole Black Student Union. It gives you space to influence. If you're somebody that can read and write well, you can control how people think about you and the people you represent. But if you can't speak and read well, the only people that you can influence is people like you. You got to think about this. Your ability to influence is really predicated upon your ability to speak and read well. If you can't speak and read well, the only people that you can talk to are your friends and peers. That's it. Because those are the only ones that will understand you. The more you speak and read, the more like a cloud your influence grows. You can speak to more people. So, Mr. Gooding talked about the fact that I'm now Maryland Teacher of the Year. Can I tell you that that process was predicated upon reading and writing at an advanced level? Here's what they did. So I became Baltimore County Teacher of the Year in May. All right, and that was definitely a blessing, and I'm happy to be Maryland Teacher of the Year. But what did they give you? And Haroon, who's Howard County Teacher of the Year, he can tell you. The application. Tell me about the application. What did they have us do for an application to be Maryland Teacher of the Year?
But the process just real quick, the process of going into being the Teacher of the Year is, it's extensive actually. One, they want to make sure that you understand what your lessons are, what you're talking about. You got to understand your teaching philosophy. So you got to be able to express that written. They don't want you to just go ahead and speak to them and say things, and they want to make sure that you have written documentation of how you present yourself. So you can present yourself with the written word. And that's something that happens from reading also, is being able to write well. I can articulate orally all day long, but if I can't transfer what I'm saying in my head onto paper, nobody cares.
Right.
Okay? And that's one way we had to go ahead and do that, is that our philosophy of education, we had to go into our personal biographies. Again, writing about yourself and being able to articulate yourself through the written language. People will go ahead, anyone knows this, if you want to get famous throughout history, write a book. Yeah. In order to write, you have to first be able to what? Read. You got to first be able to read. In order to read well, you can start to articulate and understand. Then you can go ahead and start putting that stuff on paper. And that's kind of the process in which you start to get respect, is by the written language, as well as being able to go ahead and oratate. And that's something that we had to go through to make sure that we were being taken seriously, so people knew what we were talking about.
Plain and simple. Thank you so much. The Maryland State Teacher of the Year process, they gave me about 8 questions. Each question was a 2-page essay. So I had to write basically a 12-page paper to even be considered a finalist for this particular award. When I became finalist, then what did I have to do? I had to go and do an interview with people all across the state, 13, 14 people from all across the state, and I had to speak for 40 minutes to all of their questions. I had to speak intelligently and intelligibly about the issues. Okay, what's on the other side of that? Maryland Teacher of the Year now. It's a prestigious honor. I got a new car, got some money, got trips all over the nation. But how did that happen? Literacy. If I'm not advanced in literacy, none of that occurs. If I can't write or read well, they're not even going to consider me a finalist for anything. All right, next point. Advanced literacy allows you to control your identity and get respect. Okay, so I tell my students this all the time. When I taught in high school, when I taught in middle school, you're judged off of 3 things. Unfair or fair, 3 things. How you look first, how you talk second, and how you behave third. Period. If you're not controlling yourself in all 3 of those everywhere you go, you're going to be judged negatively before you even say anything. Right? So if I'm able to speak and read well, I can control, 1, how they perceive me based off of my speech. And 2nd, I can get respect with that. Boys always talk about respect. That's the main thing. The main reason why people fight, boys mainly, is that they get disrespected. Period. Right? There's almost nothing else, but you can get respect through speaking well. That's a way to get respect. All right? So that's the 3rd point. So I'm going to go with my points because I really want you to hear this. My first point, advanced literacy allows you to understand better who you are. Okay? Literacy leads to rebellion against slavery. Advanced literacy gives you space to influence. Advanced literacy allows you to control your identity and get respect. Advanced literacy also allows you to express yourself and be more peaceful. Let me go to the other point. Here's another thing that happened with me. So a couple years ago, I was teaching summer school. And I like to play basketball and whatnot. I'm not that good, but I still like to play. And so I was coming off the basketball court, but I still had, I wanted an assignment that I wanted to do for my kids. So I had to go into a Lexus dealership to get some brochures. I'll tell you what the assignment was in a second. So, 6'2", 200-pound black guy coming to a Lexus dealership with basketball and all sweaty, right? They're probably going to be a little bit concerned as to what I really want, right? So I come in, and I'm thinking, how am I going to navigate this? How am I going to navigate this? Remember, I told you, judge off of 3 things. I'm already down on 2 of them, right? Okay, so the only thing I have left, is how I speak. That's all I got. So I come in there, and they rush up to me in some ways. Yeah, so what are you looking for? Kind of right at the door. And it's like, okay, whoa, right, okay. But I said, I'm a teacher at the Baltimore County Public Schools. I'm looking for brochures to study rhetorical advertising. They were just like, oh, okay. Come on in. Just come on in. Respect. Control. It was as if I had a suit on with what I just said. Respect. Control. They couldn't shut me out because I already had the respect there. Okay, so that's the 2nd point. More like the 3rd. Advanced literacy allows you to control your identity. Advanced literacy allows you to express yourself and be more peaceful. I find some of the most frustrating people, or people that are most frustrated, are those that can't express themselves fully. Right? If you have the words to express yourself, you will be a more peaceful person because you'll always be able to have the words to express your emotions. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to say something, not having the words to say it. So the extent to which you can build up your vocabulary to express yourself is the degree to which you'll actually solve problems. You guys are going to grow up, you're going to get married. I'm going to tell you, in a marriage conversation argument is different than any sort of argument that you've ever been through. All right? Now, some people on this side are like, yeah. They know. All right, I've been married 4 years. Trust me, it's serious, right? But here's the thing. If you don't have vocabulary to express yourself as a man, you're going to resort to other means to express yourself, which may not be healthy. Right? That's sometimes where abuse comes from, either verbally or physically from a man. We don't have the words to express our emotions, so we express them physically. So when I talk about literacy and advanced literacy, I'm not just talking about passing a test. I haven't brought up test 1 time yet. It's coming, though, because it has to come in this conversation. I haven't talked about tests not 1 time. I'm telling you, literacy has a way to improve your very life, your life quality. Okay, it's always frustrating. Say, I want to say something, I want to feel it, but I can't. I don't even have the words to free my mind. And we go back to that image in the beginning. The degree to which you have vocabulary is the degree to which you can fully express yourself. Whenever I get into I like to call it heated conversation with my wife, I'm always able to express what I'm thinking. That calms me down. I don't end up yelling, saying stuff. I'm calm. That's important. Very important. Okay? Next, advanced literacy. And I'm almost finished. Advanced literacy allows you to help people and solve problems. Okay, so we talk about reading, but you can also read other things. How many of you all play football at a high level? I'm talking about like high school or something like that. Okay. All right, if you're a quarterback, one of the biggest things you have to do is read the what? Defense. Right? You got to go back as a quarterback. You're under center. You have to be able to see a lot of things. Let's get technical. Where is the safety? Are they blitzing? Where's the Mike? Where's the Sam? Where are the linebackers? Okay, what play are we running? You have to be able to read the defense. That's football. Okay? You also have to be able to read situations as a person. I come into here, right? I see you all there. I have to be able, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm reading you right now. You don't even know, but I'm reading you like a book. Are you feeling what I'm saying? Are you listening? Are you not? I'm reading you the whole time. That works when you're in a business conversation. When I came to the Maryland Teacher of the Year interview, remember I told you there was like 13 people there, right? Okay. I have a problem, by the way, just on a kind of tangent. Black boys don't really smile a whole lot. Can y'all start doing that? Like, it's okay, right? It's okay. You're not soft. Like, you're not soft when you smile. Like, for real. I'm serious. I'm so serious. It's okay. Like, it's okay. It's scary to walk down the street and see a black boy just looking mean. Like, and it's not that bad. Life is not that bad that you can't smile once in a while. Anyway, so I go into, I'm just being honest with you. All right, so I go into the situation, right? I go into this room. There's 12 people there from the state. 12 of them are female. I was like, ooh, good, right? So I go in there, right? Now I'm reading the situation. I'm reading. Reading is a process of looking at something, developing meaning from it, and then doing something with it. I'm reading the situation. They're all sitting, they're all looking. What do I do? Okay. We go in, shook everybody's hand, looked right in their face. How you doing, Josh? We went all around the table. Boom. Read the situation. Now I come back, I reread it. Now where are they? What's their physical? How are they leaning forward? Are they looking at me now? Are they connected? Are they engaged? As I'm giving answers, I'm going around and I'm reading the situation. Is this working? Is it not? They need to change. Okay? If you're a running back, you read blocks. I mean, it's something that is across different vantage points. And by the way, from what I've seen, and I've been a coach of junior varsity basketball, usually when you have a good reader, you got a good point guard. Usually when you have a good student, you have a good athlete. Usually. All right, there are exceptions to the rule. But usually when you have somebody that's smart in the classroom, they're going to be smart on the field. Period. Because it's the same situation. You're reading. Okay? So reading doesn't just help you in the classroom, it helps you in life. All right, I'm going quickly. My time is escaping. I got more to say to you all, but I'm going to put it in as quick as I can. Okay, so when you have problems, I like what the brother, I think it was Mr. Powell, is that your last name?
Yes, sir.
I like what he said when he came up here. He basically illustrates my point better than I could in 40 minutes in like one. He gave you a poem that was about his father. He expressed himself. He developed that respect, okay? But he also tackled an issue. And that's what literacy gives you the ability to do. How many of you all see problems in your community? Okay, big ones, right? Okay, they're on the news all the time, right? If you have literacy, you can speak to those problems. Think about the I Have a Dream speech. What was that but just a speech to problems, right? If you can write like that, if you can write a book, write a speech, write a poem, write a rap, what is hip-hop except for an entire historical, well, maybe not now, but earlier on, it was basically a historical Rosetta Stone. It was something that you had, okay, here's what's going on in society with black people, and they're speaking to their problems. Remember Tupac said, I know it seems heaven sent, but we're not ready to have a black president. He was talking about specifically what was happening at that time. That's what literacy can do for you. And these rappers, let me get you something. This is kind of a twist. You think these rappers are dumb, but some of them are very smart. And they're communicating to you an image that you shouldn't read, but they read more than you do. I'm telling you this. I'm not making this up. Because to be a good rapper is to be a good lyricist. To be a good lyricist is to be well-read. You can't make a good lyricist if you don't know stuff. Period. Okay? So if you are believing by rap that you shouldn't read, but the ones that are rapping do, then where are you in this? Okay, next up, I only have 3 more to go and I'm done. Advanced literacy is a sign of maturity. We all see in the morning, this morning I actually went to McDonald's and I saw an old person reading the newspaper. You think it's for old people, but it's really a sign of people who are mature, or they're well-read, period. Okay? If you're mature, you read. If you're not, you don't. It's really that simple, okay? Real men read, okay? Real men read. I know you think real men have sex. Real men play basketball. Okay, real men read. I'm telling you that. All right? Deal with it. Put it in your head. And by the way, let me say this too, right? I don't know you all the other fellas in here, but I already loved you before I saw you, number 1. Number 2, I already respect you for being here before you came here, so that's number 2. But number 3, I'm divorced from all that I'm saying to you. I'm going to say this to you, and you have the opportunity right now to hear what I'm saying. But if you leave this particular day, after all the instruction that you have, and you don't act on it, that is up to you. That is your prerogative. I have already, to a degree, to what God has allowed me to do, I've already made it to a point. And I'm going to keep on making it because I believe in God, I believe in myself, and I believe in the power of reading. So I'm good. Okay? I'm good. You are the ones that have to make it.
Still read.
Absolutely. Often. I wish you were in my car because I carry books around with me all the time. I'm kind of nerdy in this way. I think books are like friends, so I always carry them around like I feel comfortable with the book. But anyway, so I always read. Don't judge me. All right, so I always, don't judge me, okay? I love reading. Don't judge me, all right? But it is always, there's so many things to know. Like, there's so many things that you got. Like, I'm like, oh, good. Right now, I'm a language arts department chair, and I'm trying to think about how can we bring up our scores. So I'm reading articles, research every day. Like, oh, this is interesting. I just found out about a flipped school. How many of you heard of a flipped school? Flipped school. Crazy. Out in Detroit. They flipped the entire school so that all the instruction happens at home on the internet. And then when they come into the school, all they do is homework. Crazy, right?
That's what's up.
Reading! Reading! You don't get it if you don't read. Okay? Feel me on this. Hear me. Okay, I only got 2 more points. All right, Mr. Gooding, I'm going to end soon. I know we got time. Okay. Advanced literacy allows you to capture moments in posterity. Posterity. Posterity is something that holds up over time. If you can read and write well, you can produce things that last for years and decades and centuries. You yourself can live on through your writing if you can do it well. How many of you heard of Shakespeare? Everybody. Okay, he wrote stuff 500, 600 years ago that we're still reading today. 500, 600 years ago that we're still reading today. What will we read from you in 600 years? You have the ability to do it. Advanced literacy sets you free to be all you want to be, think, and do. I already told you about Malcolm X in jail. He's in jail. However, he said he's the most free that he's ever been in jail because he did what? Read and write. Okay? Also, by the way, he was a street hustler, right? Had all, stealing and doing all kind of criminal sort of things. And the only people that heard him were people on the block. He got out of school, or I guess I call it school. He got out of prison where he educated himself. He went to Oxford, England for debate. He went all around the country speaking. He was on the news. I mean, he was everywhere. Not because of him just being black, but because he has something to say. Now, we can disagree with some of his content, whatever. That's your own prerogative. But the point remains the same. When you have advanced literacy, you can do things that take you out of your block. There is a world beyond the block. And the only way you get there is through advanced literacy. All right, now, I talked about all these things. I'll recap them one more time, and then I'll go over some of the dangers of non-reading, and then we'll be done. First, literacy leads to rebellion against slavery. Number 1. Number 2, advanced literacy allows you to understand better who you are. Number 3, advanced literacy gives you space to influence. Number 4, advanced literacy allows you to control your identity and get respect. Number 5, advanced literacy allows you to express yourself and be more peaceful. Next, advanced literacy allows you to help people and solve problems. Advanced literacy is a sign of maturity. Advanced literacy allows you to capture moments in prosperity. Think about, by the way, another example of that, the Diary of Anne Frank. That will forever be in print. And she wrote that to capture that moment in posterity. Think about the election of Obama. Many articles are now written about that. They will live forever on, all right? Advanced literacy sets you free to be all you want to be, think, and do. Okay, now, let me go through these real quick so that I can get all this in. Okay, these are all the things that advanced reading and writing will do. Now, here are some of the dangers of non-reading. Can you give me one danger of not being able to read well? I say well, because everybody's going to say, I hear from a lot of fellas, I can read. We're not talking about reading at a basic level. I don't care about that fact. I don't care if you can decode and understand at a minimal level what something is saying. We're talking about advanced literacy. Okay, what are the dangers of not being able to be at that level? Anybody? What are some dangers of not reading well?
Going to jail.
Going to jail, there is a connection there. All right, I'm serious. You think I'm joking, but really, I'm serious. There's only so many things you can do, because here's the situation. You can't read well in 3rd grade. It's going to get worse as you progress up the grades because the text gets harder. So you're going to act out more in school. If you start acting out, then you might get suspended. And if you get suspended enough times, you have a propensity to go to jail. I could show you research, but we don't have enough time for that. Have you ever talked to somebody who doesn't read well?
Yep.
Tough. Exactly. First off, they're boring because they can't talk about much. You talk to a boy who just does video games, all he talks about is video games. That's it. No depth. Boring, dull personality, lack of awareness of the world. You know what? And this, no offense, none of the females fit this category. But when I was picking a wife, I also want a wife that was well-read too. I don't want a female that can only talk about hair and shoes. Kidding me? Seriously, where's the depth? Beauty only takes you so far. And plus, beauty works, in my opinion, from the outside, inside, back to the outside. They look good, then you find out about them. What you find out about either makes them more beautiful or makes them uglier. So it comes back on the outside. Outside, inside, outside. All right, next. If you don't read well, you're enslaved to one single experience. The block is where you are, and that's where you're going to stay. Period. Same friends, same block, same experience, limited options. You go to Giant right now. If you went to Giant 10 years ago, you would see cashiers lined up from aisle 1 to aisle 10. You go to Giant now, how many cashiers do you see?
21.
Not even 21, 3 or 4. Because what are the other ones? Automated. Do it yourself.
Right.
What does that mean? That means that the jobs that used to exist for those that couldn't read well are not there anymore. So if you can't read well, you're not even having the same jobs you used to have. So how are you going to support yourself legally? Okay. Hope you're hearing what I'm saying. Your life experiences as you know them and the concerns about life that matter to you are never heard because not being able to read and write has muzzled you. Final part. What do these numbers mean to you? I'm going to throw up about 3 numbers to you. And tell me if these numbers are good in terms of achievement on a test. 26, 26, and 28. Are those good scores on a test?
No.
No, heck no, right? But guess what? In the state of Maryland, those are your numbers of African American students that scored advanced on the MSA in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. 26, 26, 28. 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, MSA, Maryland, African American students.
Wait, out of how many?
Out of 100%. I mean,
That's all of them. All in the state of
in the
Maryland.
entire state, 26%. I'm not talking real numbers, I'm talking 26%. 26%, 26%, 28%. Okay. Compare it with Asians and whites. 26 for us, 56 for whites, 65 for Asians. 26 for us, 56 for whites, 69 for Asians. Go to 8th grade. 28% of us, 59 and 69% of them are scoring advanced. Remember MSA, if you remember MSA, you have 3 levels, right? What are those 3 levels? Basic, proficient, advanced. So we're not even counting proficient, and they're the one that passed the test also. We're talking just advanced, and look how low our numbers are. Okay? Now the final wrap-up. What can you do now? First, start reading immediately. biographies of famous people, books from people that you admire. Read something. If you just read the summaries of all the football games in a day, just read that. Read something. One. Number two, pass your English class with an A. Not with a C or a B, pass it with an A. Okay? Three, write something from your mind or an assignment every day. If you just feel like you're just frustrated, just write about it every day. 30 minutes a day, just write about it. Talk with people outside your circle of friends. Don't just talk to your friends all the time. Talk to adults. People outside of your circle, okay? Enter contests related to reading and writing. Advocate to get into a high-level English class. How many of you all are in GT classes or advanced placement classes in English? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, if your school doesn't have it, there's a problem, number one. All right? Okay, this is my point. Not a hand went up. Or one. Sorry, one. You guys have got to add two. Advocate to get into high-level classes. Go to your teacher. What do I need to do to get into a GT English class? What do you do to get into an advanced placement English? Talk to your mother. Your parents should be advocating this for you. Don't be stuck in these standard and remedial courses with no hope of getting anywhere else. You're not going to get the education. I teach English. I know. And I'm telling you, the curriculums for gifted and talented versus standard are completely different. I'm telling you that. Okay? Next. Use your writing and voice to bring attention to your thoughts, feelings, and desires in relation to issues in your neighborhood and community. Write a letter to Baltimore Sun. Write a letter to Washington Post talking about murders in your street and why whoever's not doing anything about it. Write a letter about your school. If your school, for example, you're in high school, I hope, or going to college or whatever like that. If your high school doesn't have a GT class, that is a problem. Write about it. Bring attention to this issue. Finally, reject ignorance in every form about the importance of reading for African American boys. If you see the media talk about how dumb we are and just emphasize athletics, reject that. Rap, movies, all that. And if you hear somebody else, another young boy say, well, reading is boring, you already know that they are not informed. And the muzzle is around them. Don't listen to them. I care about you, and I don't even know you, but you are me, and I am you. This is why I'm saying this to you. Trust what I'm saying. If you don't read, you're going to be in trouble. Period. I'm an example of what reading can do for a life. Use us, people that you trust, other adults, to help you read and write better. We're here for you. We love you. We want you to be free in every way. And remember, the Emancipation Proclamation, which was written by Abe Lincoln, that was a document. Okay? And it was written and it was spoken. No written document, no spoken word, no freedom of slaves. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of today. I appreciate you. I'll see you all soon.
Do me a favor and give Maryland State Teacher of the Year 2011-2012, Josh Parker, a round of applause. And so, somebody help me. I need to brush up. I think the scripture says where two are gathered, or two or three are gathered. I'm sorry. I feel he's in the midst this morning. I'm feeling pumped up. So without any further delay, why don't we go to our workshop sessions and break it down? Now listen, what we're going to do is we had an hour for lunch. We're just going to cut lunch short by 15 minutes, right? With a little extra food for thought in our classroom. So essentially we'll go from 11 to 11:45. I got Flip over here, post-traumatic school syndrome. Be careful, he's about to bring it, okay? We got manhood redefined over here, right? And listen, this sister is powerful. All right, so y'all about to, understand what it is, okay? And then we have black males in the movies, and then we have literacy and hip hop. I want to Compton State's own Dr. Elgin Klug. So listen, parents, chaperones, whoever, you all are free to participate as well. In fact, we want you to as well. Everybody's invited. Let's make a move, y'all. We got work to do.